Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back with another video, and in this one I'm continuing my series where I look at the near future of all 30 NBA teams. For anyone who didn't watch the first video, in this one I'm just kind of looking at the next 3 to 4 years and seeing what each NBA team could potentially accomplish. I'm not going too far into the future because obviously anything can happen, but so I just really like the next 3, 4, maybe 5 years, depending on the team. Some have more to talk about than others. And I don't know too much about, I don't watch any college or high school basketball, so I won't be talking about very specific rookies and stuff or incoming, college players or whatever. Just mainly seeing potential picks that these teams could get and positions they could fill with those picks, and looking at free agency and stuff. But in this video, we're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. And just talking about this season in particular, I think the Bucks could be serious championship contenders. Giannis has improved his three-pointer. Obviously, there's still more room to grow with him, but I think it'll be harder to stop him. Obviously, last year the Raptors were able to figure out a defensive scheme that was able to, really slow him down, and they were able to take the Bucks in 6. But I think this year they have a better chance just because, everyone has another year of playoff experience under their belt. And I think Giannis probably took that loss last season pretty hard, so I think he'll definitely come out and ball, especially after having a break, this long of a break in the middle of the season. So he'll be more fresh for the playoffs. However, past this season, it really all depends on what happens with Giannis in free agency. He's got this season and then the 2020-21 season left with Milwaukee. And he's made it pretty clear that if Milwaukee isn't really able to piece together a good championship run and win one ring at least, I think he'll probably look towards leaving. And if he does leave, I don't see the Bucks really doing much. They're obviously still a good team, and they've shown that they can beat teams without Giannis playing because he's sat out a few games for rest or whatever. But if he leaves, I could see them being maybe a 6 to 8 seed. But they really would be relying on Chris Middleton to be their best player, and I just don't think that's a team that can seriously contend. So they would either keep their current team without Giannis, maybe make some more signings to fill out their team, but I wouldn't see them being a serious contender because Milwaukee's not exactly a hot free agent destination. However, if Giannis does stay, say they win a championship, or he they make a good run and he thinks they have a chance to win it the next season and he does stay, the problem is he's still due for his massive supermax, and he might have to take a little bit less money because of coronavirus, and the overall salary cap will probably take a bit of a hit. But it will still be rough to have that Chris Middleton contract and the Giannis contract in the same books, especially when you have to fill out the rest of the roster. You have guys like Eric Bledsoe that are still under contract. Brook Lopez just re-signed. So it would be hard for them to make many moves. And I talked about this also in the Sixers episode that I did, where they don't really have much salary fluctuation. They don't have much room to make moves that, if say they don't win a championship, they don't have that, one more trade and we really could get it, because they don't have the money to really match a trade very well. However, Giannis is a soon-to-be 2-time league MVP. He should be MVP this season. If not, then something's wrong with the voting. But they have the best record in the league, and they'll probably still continue to be dominant with this team. But in order for them to be a consistent championship favorite, I think Giannis has to develop that jump shot a little bit more. Again, he still does have it to a point where it's respectable. You can't just leave him open like the Raptors did last season. You have to contest him at some point because he's been improved greatly. He's taken more. He's shown confidence in his ability to shoot. So considering all that, it will be harder to stop them if he does stay in Milwaukee. And I could see, in the next few years, if they can keep all their pieces, assuming obviously there's no regression, players are getting older, like Brook Lopez will be getting a little older over the next few seasons. But he's really transitioned his game into being a good shooter and paint protector for that team, so he doesn't require too much on athleticism. But he's on a pretty team-friendly deal too. So assuming that everything can sort of piece together and they can keep this core over the next 3 or 4 years, and maybe get a nice complementary piece in the draft around the 30th, 29th pick, where they'll probably be at for the next few years. I could definitely see this team making a championship run, possibly winning one or two over the next few years, because this team has been so dominant over the regular season. And obviously players like LeBron are going to be getting a little older. This is really the Lakers' window right now, which is why I also don't think the Bucks are championship favorites this year. Just because the Lakers are there, the Clippers are there, and Toronto is a pretty dark horse contender as well. They've been playing pretty well this season. But that being said, again, over the next few years they can definitely win some. I do think, however, they're going to miss Malcolm Brogdon's efficient shooting in the playoffs. Eric Bledsoe, while he is a good player in the playoffs, he does tend to decrease in productivity just a little bit. He's still a very good player, obviously, but he's not the same player he is in the regular season, and that could end up hurting them a little bit. But again, I still think they're very capable. Again, this team is getting older. They might lose players like Kyle Korver and Wesley Matthews soon just because of retirement, and that might hurt a little bit just because I think those guys are instrumental in helping Giannis improve the jump shot. But Coach Bud's a great coach. They can obviously pick up better players in free agency if some players do retire. Maybe not all-star caliber players, but they can get some solid role players in the next few seasons throughout free agency and fill out the roster. And again, I think players like Dante DiVincenzo and other players they pick up through the draft will end up being solid for them. So just looking at that, there's a very high chance they win, maybe even 2 to 3 championships over the next 4 or 5 years. But that all really depends on what happens in this year and the next season. Because if the Bucks don't win a championship, then Giannis will probably leave. In which case, I think it would honestly probably be the best move to try and trade Chris Middleton's contract away and completely restart and try to hit another steal in the draft. Because, again, the team will be solid without Giannis. They've proven that they're still capable of winning games. But Giannis is really a key piece to that team, and without him, I don't see them really getting past maybe the 5 seed at best in the Eastern Conference. So, you don't want to be one of those teams that's stuck around the 5 to 8 seed where you're never really good enough to compete for a ring, but you're not bad enough to get a high lottery pick and get, a nice pick in the draft. So that's sort of the worst place to be at, because there's no room to improve your team, especially in a city like Milwaukee where they've established a bit of a winning culture now, but if they lose Giannis, the Milwaukee probably won't be a very high free agency destination for a lot of players. You might be able to pick up, again, quality pieces, maybe an all-star caliber player here or there, but it won't be anyone that can really turn around your franchise if Giannis does leave. So, again, we got to see what goes on in this season. It's really could go either way with the Bucks, depending on Giannis's decision, so it's kind of hard to determine what could happen because we really don't know. I'm assuming he probably will stay, but 1 or 2 more bad playoff performances, maybe they don't win it this season and Giannis is already angry and made up his mind, or next season they come really close and someone has a bad game, they miss out on the championship and he leaves. So it really could go either way. There's no determining, especially because we don't know what new defensive schemes people are going to be throwing at Giannis, because obviously last season the box and one that the Raptors ran worked perfectly, but again, Giannis has improved his jumpers, so there will definitely be some new schemes that are planned out for the playoffs, so you just kind of have to see how everything plays out. But I think that's all I got for this video for you guys. I know it's a little bit shorter, right around 9 minutes, but again, with the Bucks, it's kind of hard to determine their future just because you don't know what could happen. So that's going to be all for this video. If you like the video, subscribe. I'll probably try to do more of these videos soon. The next team is the Bulls, I believe, so I'll have that one coming out soon. And like the video if you enjoyed. Comment below any suggestions you got for future videos, and thanks for watching.